And a very good day, everybody. It is Monday, February 23rd, 2026, 5:21 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this here is the remains of the St. Paul's Catholic Church here in southwest Montreal. This is De l'Église Street that we're on. And this church was built in 1910, according to information that I read. And around 1:30 a.m. this morning, it caught fire, went to a fifth alarm fire, the highest class of fire there is. And as you can see, pretty much a total loss at this point. Also worth mentioning is the building beside it also sustained some damage. Looks like it was limited to that section there on the top floor. Looks like maybe the fourth and fifth floor. Also some water damage. You can see some ice hanging down off of the building. And this church apparently was vacant, but was also being used by the Romanian Orthodox Church as well. So obviously this is an historical building that was lost here. And I'll give you the address here in a moment, just so you know. Alright, so the address here is 1690 De l'Église, 1690 De l'Église. And if you look up there, you can actually see the bells that are still there. Kind of fascinating to see that. But obviously a complete loss. What we'll do, I'm going to include some footage I did earlier from the back of the church, which was actually on Galt Street. I'll include that as well in this video. And we'll take a look here at the side. So obviously this church, as I mentioned, was vacant, so most likely this was a result of human activity. I don't know if there was people in here that were taking shelter, maybe trying to keep warm, or if it was arson. But here you can see directly the view facing directly in front. Now we're going to go to the side here, show you what it looks like on the side. I was actually I was actually debating coming here on scene when this became a fifth alarm. Decided to stay home. Apparently the flames were quite intense. In fact, there was a camera from the old port of Montreal, the observation tower, and that actually showed the flames all the way from the old port. So this goes to show you how high the flames were. Probably when this building collapsed, when this church collapsed, that's probably when those flames shot up high. And again, there's those, you can see there, those ropes right up there leading to the bell towers. Now it's worth mentioning, if you're not familiar, Montreal has had a lot of churches that have become vacant over the years, specifically Catholic churches and whatnot, also Anglican churches. So there's a lot of these churches that are in these very bad states, that are abandoned. And of course that's obviously not just, a place where people go to keep warm that may not have a place for shelter, but also it attracts people with, mischievous sort of tendencies. Maybe in this case somebody decided to light the fire on purpose, or it could have simply been somebody trying to keep warm. I guess we'll find out, but usually when it comes to these types of things, we don't really find out what happened. I mean, of all the church fires I've heard over the years, I haven't really heard any updates on what happened. And I'm always suspicious, when something like this happens, you got to look at the big picture. You can say it's somebody that lit the fire trying to keep warm, but maybe, it could be some land developer behind the scenes. You don't know what happens in the big picture, trying to maybe get this land available for condos or whatever. And that's probably what's sadly going to go here. Condominiums once again. Can always hope that it will be affordable housing, but it's always, of course, something that rarely happens. Of course, that's the way it works here. It's usually land developers that can get the most profit. So this building here, also an historical building. Like I said, this I think was some sort of home or something, or seniors residence. I'm not completely sure. But again, you could see damage is limited to the upper floors. another historical building as well right here. You can tell just by looking at it. So what we'll do, I'll wrap up the video here in a moment. I just want to show you guys one more thing worth noting. There's a building right beside it that's actually quite interesting. This is another historical building. You're going to see it here on the left of the church coming up here. And this building was actually in the news recently. Well, another thing I want to point out, this apartment building right over there, you see that large apartment complex? That also caught fire a couple of years ago. That was another 5th alarm fire. So this area definitely has had its fair shares of fires. Here I guess was the residential area where the priest lived or whatever, the Presbyterian I believe it's called. But over here, this building coming up, this is another historical building. You're going to see it here on, coming into view here on the left side. This building's another historical building that apparently the city sold for $1. Now the only condition of buying that building is that you have to take responsibility for the renovations and whatnot, the upkeep of it. So this building right here, you can tell it's really old. It has that old-fashioned ventilation unit on the roof, and that's quite interesting because depending on what direction the wind is blowing, that vent moves, so it prevents sort of the smoke from getting back inside the building. Very old design. And of course Dilliglee Street has quite a few churches on it, and if you look down here, I'm going to zoom in, that's Verdun in the distance. That's right near Dilliglee's metro station, and that's actually another church. I think that's the actual church that Dilliglee Street is named after. So I'll wrap this video up here. I'm going to put another couple of other clips at the end of this, so stay tuned for that. And that's from the back over there on that side, so you can see how extensive the damage is. It goes all the way to the back, which is where Galt Street is. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'll add a couple more clips to this, and thanks for watching as always. If you like what you see, hit the like button, subscribe, and more videos to come.